What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Teed Up. I'm your host, Pierre, Pee Wee the Plug, Andreessen. We are officially back after a few week, maybe a month hiatus. Your boy had some personal things he had to take care of. It was also good to kind of take a break in the off season and kind of decompress and get away from the game just a tad bit. I'll talk about that in a small second. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. A lot of people have been hitting me up on these weeks that I've taken off. I've been streaming a bunch on Twitch, and so people will come in and say, "Hey, man, how you feeling? We saw that you weren't on the podcast. It hasn't been teed up. Your second procedure and everything like that." I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. Just to kind of fill everybody in, my second procedure was nothing crazy. It was like a 5 to 10 minute thing. They removed the stent that they had to place inside my stomach from the first procedure, but everything is going smooth. Again, I appreciate all of the support, all of the kind words from everybody who's been checking up on me. But I promise you, I am fine and feeling well. I am a little slimmed down. A lot of people have been commenting on that as well. Um, People that watch the show or watch the streams and everything like that, and even people in my personal life. I was at my friend's house a couple of days ago watching the fight between Canelo and Crawford, and one of my homies was like you slim? I'm like, yeah. I had it. When you get gallstones, you got to change your diet, man. I can't eat nothing really crazy like I used to. I used to be on my big bag fat boy stuff, and I ain't gonna lie, I still have my temptations where I want a little 6-piece mild sauce from Uncle Remus. If you know, you know. But yeah, since my first procedure, I have not really indulged a bunch. There will be a day and a time where I do, have the occasional here and there, but I've been real strict on all the fried and fatty foods because I don't want to go through that again. But as far as the NBA goes, again, it's been real nice for me personally. This is one of the first times since I think we've gotten to the industry or got into this podcast game where I've kind of taken on just having a nice off season. And I can never fully disconnect from basketball because it's my life more so than my job or anything like that. I just feel weird without doing some type of basketball activity or some type of connection, whether that's watching an old game, whether that's revisiting an old random player, whether that's looking into the future and seeing who are the next guys in college or in high school, or reviewing a random player from the past season that I kind of didn't see or appreciate how good of a year that they had. I'm doing something with basketball every single day. But this offseason, for me, was good to kind of not feel the need to fall into like the off-season conversations, right? Because this off-season, for whatever reason, it's been busy, but there has also been extreme dry spells. And I think in previous off seasons as a podcast, we've kind of wanted to stay in tune and tapped into whatever is going on in the basketball community, period, whether there's moves happening or there's not moves happening, and there's conversations happening on Twitter or on social media, and we bring it to the show and we got to debate these silly and goofy things that we've seen. And it's been good to kind of like detach from that. And I've been on these last couple of weeks, I've been seeing conversations on Twitter. I've been seeing things that have been going viral and what people are saying. And like to be able to be in a position to just kind of look at it and keep scrolling and not have to put energy into some of these conversations, it's felt good. This is also one of the first years in a while that we didn't go to summer league. My first procedure kind of ran course with the summer league, and that's when I started to not really feel so well. So I decided to not go. Um, and as always, we want to go, but again, it just felt good to just be at home and just chill and do different things to kind of unplug my mind from being so conversational, debatable, like analytical. This guy is better than him, and he shot 46% this year and that year, and just trying to make sense of all of these random things 24/7. I just feel good coming back here after just being able to inhale and exhale and get back to it. And I feel like I haven't really missed anything. But there is some things that we have to talk about. One of the first things I want to talk about is the Kawhi Leonard situation. I'm not going to go super deep into it because at this point, if you don't know what's really going on, you've probably been living under a rock. Everything has been broken down, and everybody kind of gets with everything is happening. When people have talked to me about it or asked me about it, we even just talked about it in like the pre-call before the show, and I was telling my coworkers like it's interesting, and it was very interesting when it first happened. Um, but I took the mindset of like I'll kind of just wait until the NBA and Adam Silver come to whatever conclusion they're going to come with, and whatever the penalty the Clippers are going to have to pay, we'll see what ends up happening. Right now, I feel like we're in that time of where everybody's forcing these opinions and forcing these thoughts on what's going to happen or what should happen when we don't really know all of the fine details. We have a report that we've been giving, and again, it's very interesting. It is very interesting. You cannot deny that. And it's something peculiar. It's like a new thing that, I wasn't really in tune with everything with the Joe Smith situation way back then in the day with the Timberwolves and everything like that. So for this to happen, and it's a different magnitude, different type of money, different level of player. The social media is prominent now. So again, it's interesting, but I just feel like we waste so much time with all these hypotheticals and what ifs and what shoulds when the NBA has an investigation and a job to do. And I'm kind of going to sit back and allow them to do that. And then once whatever happens or whatever conclusion we get to, I'll assess thoughts and use my brain power for that. But with all that being said, I read an article from John Hollinger, who worked in the NBA for, I believe, 7 or 8 years. I believe he was with the Memphis Grizzlies, is what I remember at least. I'm sorry if he worked somewhere else. And it was an article with The Athletic. I actually read it this morning. I don't even know what possessed me to click. I think because he wrote it and the title, which I forgot already, kind of was. I was like, oh, let me click this. This feels different than what everybody else has been wanting to talk about with this Kawhi Leonard situation. And I'm glad I did read it because he broke down some things, but one of the parts of this article was about the idea of everybody doing this in the NBA. And I won't lie, that was one of the things that also was a part of how I assessed the situation. I am a person who believes or believed stuff like this has happened and happens in not just the NBA, but in sports. I don't have any fact proof of that. I don't work in the NBA. I have not had, or in the office, front offices and deal with contracts. I don't have a source that's told me that. That's just what I feel as a fan. And to kind of defend myself and people who also have this type of way of thinking when it comes to the NBA, what you have to understand is there's so much that goes on in these leagues that when you get older and you start to look at things from a different perspective or find things out, you kind of don't put anything past or behind anybody, right? It's almost like this. I'll give you this for an example. When I was a kid growing up, one of the things that used to kind of like blow my mind is when college basketball sanctions or like suspensions or things would happen because people were getting paid under the table. And as a young kid, I would be like, man, that's so wrong. That's not right. Like they breaking the rules, they cheating. That's not okay. And then I was informed or I was told that hey, that happens. Like everybody, this is not a thing that's like they're treating it like it's a one-off. They're treating the Fab Five Michigan like they've done something or Chris Webber did something that nobody else has ever done. You know what I mean? They come down with these rules and they talk about it publicly, but a lot of teams and a lot of colleges are doing this. And so as I got older, I realized that when I was told that, it ended up being very true, and I found that out for my damn self. But that was something that my dad told me because I remember being a kid, kind of being passionate about the cheating and the scandals and all of these different things. And you find out that, like, no, a lot of colleges are doing this. It's just about who was able to not get caught, who was too flashy with it. It's all these different rules. And so, even fast forward to now times where there's supposed to be all of these rules. You talk about like uh, what do we call it? Youth basketball, youth sports. You're supposed to be a certain age. You're supposed to play within certain groups. And now we got things that are being blurred. We got a lot of stories of guys reclassifying. And I think a lot of people think reclassifying is just playing up. Hey, I'm 17, but I'm going to reclassify and move up a grade. So I'll play with older kids as a younger kid, like Cooper Flag, right? Like all last year you heard Cooper Flag is a freshman in college, but he's really supposed to be a high school senior. There's also the other version of reclassifying where we have guys who should be freshmen in college who are still seniors in basketball. And to me, that's a form of like cheating because it feels like 1 year, a year and a half is not that much. But I'm telling you, if I was a sophomore playing freshman basketball, I probably would have looked damn good. I would have been, I would have been A-OK. If they let me repeat my basketball level, and when I was a sophomore, if I was, they just like, hey, no, you can play freshman basketball again. I would have probably been a McDonald's All-American. The 1 year or the year and a half gap when you're a teenager is everything. I remember being a junior and a senior in high school and feeling like the freshmen were babies. They was like, man, y'all are kids. And even though I was just like a year older than these other kids. But I say all that to say, like, in these sports worlds, and I'm taking it broader than basketball, there is so much BS, so much rule bending, so much quote unquote cheating that I think a lot of us just already like just believe that there's under the table stuff going on anyway. And it's just about who isn't and who is getting caught, who's doing it the right way, who is maybe not pissing somebody off to get, caught. That's another thing. Um, and so when I first seen this, it just interests me in a certain level. I wasn't as interested as a lot of other people were because they were like, ooh, oh my gosh, and all this. And I'm kind of like, well, I'm going to be interested to see how the NBA handles it because I definitely believe certain things like this have happened and is happening. And then, as soon as Pablo Torres broke this, he brought up Jalen Brunson, which was, like hand to hand to with my thinking. So if you find Kawhi did it and then you're talking about Jalen Brunson, and then it's going to empty out a rabbit hole of all of these different occasions of when this happened, then it's not that big of a deal on the inside level. Maybe on the outside from a fan perspective who doesn't have the inside, thinking or knowledge, it's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But then I read John Hollinger's Kawhi article, and he talked about a lot of things. He talked about Article 13 of the CBA, which opens up and break down all of the penalties and the different things that the NBA could do to kind of give consequences to the Clippers. And he talks about like the idea of this being something teams do or are doing in the NBA is completely false. Like he said, this is like, I believe it because it said like it bleeped out the word in his article. I believe he probably used the word like fucking. Like this is no fucking way teams are doing this. And because I respect his word, I respect his work, and I'm a fan of John Hollinger, that from him meant a lot to me. Where I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Maybe I did jump the gun too much and was too casual with just like throwing this off as like, oh man, everybody's doing this, and just the passion. And again, he wrote this. This is not me hearing him. The passion of which he wrote that small portion of the articles, like really trying to get us to understand that this is not something that should just be brushed over as this is something that's always happening or everybody's doing it. Like that stood out to me. And I could be remotely wrong. John Hollinger could be just speaking for what he did in the years he worked. And maybe this is something that everybody's doing. But I took that from him, and it kind of made me fall back a little bit with how I previously thought about it. And he also went on to say like certain rules that been like free agency talks starting earlier than they should, things like that do happen. Like we're not going to sit up here and pretend that the NBA is just super strict in every single rule. But his point was some of those rules that get bended or kind of is a little bit more flexible, they don't hold as much weight as paying a player $50 million under the table, right? Like this is we have context. It ain't Twitter where we act like everything weighs the same and it's one for one. And I appreciate that as well. Furthermore, in the article, we talk about the penalties that the Clippers could receive and what it could look like. And some of his thoughts with some of them were interesting, which I'll dive into now. The first one was that the Clippers could be fined to up to $7.5 million, which furthermore in the article as he spoke, it's obvious to the listeners and viewers as well, like it was obvious to me, $7.5 million ain't really nothing to Steve Ballmer and the Clippers, if we're just being honest. I mean, it's not much. They could find Kawhi Leonard up to 350,000. Kind of the same thing with the $7.5 million fine. That was a very light. That was like practically not even slaps on the wrist. Those are just kind of like a shh, you know what I mean, like type of thing. Then we go into forfeiting the draft picks by the Clippers. So earlier I mentioned Joe Smith with the Minnesota Timberwolves, that situation. They took away 5 future draft picks from the Timberwolves. John Hollinger's point was that, hey, this is a much more severe case of the John Smith situation. So by default, you would think that it would be more than just if that situation took 5 picks and this is more severe, you would have to take more picks than 5. But one of the issues is all that the Clippers have is 5 picks to take. You can't take any more than what they have. You know what I mean? Like, so it really, that wouldn't be, you can't penalize them that way. The other thing was to suspend Steve Ballmer or the other Clippers personnel for up to a year and fine them to $1 million each. You also have the idea of voiding Kawhi Leonard's contract and prohibit him from re-signing with the Clippers. That's the biggest one that like a lot of people are kind of fascinated and interested in seeing if it could get to that level. And then he also talked about they could require Kawhi Leonard to return the money he received from aspiration. Now, the issue John Hollinger spoke on with voiding Kawhi's contract could be a very problematic situation because of 2 reasons. Number one, if you void Kawhi's contract, you create a situation where he would be a free agent. Not only would be a free agent, if you void a contract, that means it goes off of the books of the Clippers. So yeah, you would be voiding Kawhi Leonard, and we know who Kawhi Leonard is and what he's been about. And as good of a player as Kawhi is, Kawhi has had injury history. He hasn't been as available as the Clippers would have wanted or liked. And going into next offseason, removing that $50 million would allow them, I believe, to have $70 to $90 million in cap space, which would allow them to have a max contract slot open. And John Hollinger was like, hey, yeah, you lose Kawhi Leonard, but you just open it up to go into free agency and try to go find your next guy. Even in a situation where if LeBron really is unhappy with the Lakers, he don't have to leave LA. He could just come over there with y'all. You know, like, and again, these are just real hypotheticals. Nobody's saying LeBron is leaving and going to the Clippers. Like, this is just one of those things. The other point in voiding Kawhi's contract is the hypothetical that they figure out the conclusion during the season. And if you void Kawhi's contract during the season, he now is a free agent in the middle of the year during a time where nobody has cap space, and it could shift the power in the NBA because Kawhi Leonard theoretically could just sign to anybody for a minimum and create some crazy super team that would kind of ruin a little bit of what we have here in the NBA because we've been liking some of the parity. It's been some good basketball over the last few years. The Thunder and the Pacers was a Game 7 NBA Finals, real exciting. We've loved it. Like, it's been real fun. I know a lot of people was like, hey, I don't want to turn on the NBA Finals and I have to watch the Pacers. But damn it, real basketball lovers have enjoyed the playoffs and the postseason play and the theatrics that we've gotten. And for all of a sudden, Kawhi to get voided, and it's like he signs with the Lakers, and it's Luka and Kawhi and LeBron overnight on a minimum, it's kind of fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would kind of ruin some of what the NBA has positioned or what we've been loving. Was another point that he made, which I thought was an incredible point. We haven't really thought about that. I think people have kind of just fallen in love with the idea of a player being voided, especially a player like Kawhi. It's just very interesting. We've never seen anything like it. Never heard of anything like it. And it is kind of interesting, like, to just be in February and they end up coming out with the conclusion that, hey, yeah, they cheated and we're going to void them. And now in February, Kawhi Leonard just signs with whoever. He just signs with the Cavaliers, and the Cavaliers now have Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi Leonard, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. That's their starting five with Kawhi on a minimum. And it just changes everything in the middle of the season. One of the points he made to that is like, realistically, with that being said, he thinks it would be best, and he kind of foreshadows to believe that the NBA and Adam Silver, they will prolong this. So when the decision is made, it would happen in the offseason after the season. So we wouldn't run into an issue like that, because that could really change the dynamic of the entire landscape of the NBA during the season, which just isn't ideal. The other part, again, was about, yeah, the Clippers having all of this potential cap space. There was also reports before this article, and even today I saw that was reiterated that, like, the Clippers coincidentally are also kind of moving on from building around Kawhi. Doesn't mean that they don't want him. Don't know if that ties into this whole cloud and situation, but due to the history of his tenure with the Clippers, which I don't think they're wrong for, they are going to position themselves to make a run at Giannis or Jokic or whatever. I don't know how realistic those options are, but again, it makes sense for them to kind of pivot and not just look at Kawhi as their make or break player for their success of the year. Um, and then the other part that he was saying was like, to kind of like, they would have to get creative. And some of the ideas he threw out was like, Kawhi stays on the team, and all of the money that they've been able to throw under the table, you just started to throw it on the books. So he stays on the roster, but you penalize their cap next year, so they don't have all of the space that they think they would have. That 50 million goes against them while he's still on the roster. You void the contract, and they still have to take that hit as if he's on the roster. You know, the one thing he talked about, which is the last thing I'll really speak on as far as this article goes, was some of the CBA rules, and Article 13 doesn't go in depth on some of that. Like, he doesn't know, because voiding a contract is voiding a contract. That just means it doesn't exist. So to void it, but we still penalize you, it kind of is not voiding. So it's like, it's very weird. And he just talked about it to end it. They're going to probably have to find creative ways, if they even find what they need, to really throw the hammer down, which is how he went about it in the article. It's like how throwing the hammer at the Clippers could, impact the rest of the NBA or whatever. But he called it like bringing a hammer down. And it was, he very so emphasized, if they even find out enough to throw that down. So that was interesting to me. That's my 2 cents on the situation. Really kind of feeling the way I felt originally about everybody doing this. And again, it's not necessarily a reflection on Adam Silver and the NBA, because I love what they do and I'm a fan and I respect the integrity of the game. But as somebody who's 30 years old now, who's played it, who's covered it, who knows people that's in the NBA, relatives that's in the NBA, relatives that are chasing the NBA dream, that are in the middle of it, from an AAU basketball to a collegiate players. We got guys that watch our show that are at top tier D1 schools for other sports. You know what I mean? Like, and we have relationships with guys that are at schools and deal with different things in NIL. And when you have a lot of that insider firsthand information, and it's not always the connection, it's not always the players that we know, but it's stories of other people that they are able to say, man, yeah, I knew a dude that did this and XYZ, and this went like that. And it's like, it just makes, that's why I was super happy when the NCAA gave Reggie Bush his Heisman Trophy back, because it's like, y'all pick and choose when you want to be strict or when you want to lay the law down. And to me, we either clean house completely, or we just kind of let it be what it be. Like, I'll be honest with y'all, and I don't know how people gonna react to me saying this, um, and I'm okay with people who disagree. When I was younger, I used to I used to kind of be like, man, why does baseball do this with players that do steroids? And let me clarify, because steroids are definitely wrong. But in an era that I grew up, when players was like really, really, really on performing enhancing drugs, everybody was doing it. And it's like, it was obvious when some people were doing it. It was the most obvious shit in the world. And they would let them do it. They would let them play. These guys play full seasons. And in the time when Major League Baseball could benefit off of it, they let it happen. And then we started to see a lot of the shit get called out way later. Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, and they're going to court and they're going back and forth and being investigated after their careers. When the MLB knew damn well, they knew damn well all those players. Now, I don't want to say all of those players because there were some surprising names that I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue. But there were some players, y'all, that if you talk to anybody that grew up in the time that I grew up in, was a big enough baseball fan in the 2000s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, there were some very obvious cases of performing enhancing drugs. That's all I'm going to say in baseball. And it just felt like a blind, naked eye was used until it was a little bit more convenient. You know what I mean? But I think Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, I remember their epic home run battle one of those years. They were just going home run for home run and home run for home run. And the MLB didn't care until like they were done playing. And then it was like a whole big deal. Right? Roger Clemens, hey, Barry Bonds, all you guys come talk to us. And it's like these guys can't make it in the Hall of Fame now, and it's all of these issues. It's just I don't know. It's just very inconsistent. And I'm a consistent person. Either we care 1,000%, even when it's convenient for us, or we don't care. As long as we're consistent, that's my whole thing. It's the same thing with NCAA basketball. Either y'all care for everybody, you know what I mean, or you don't care. And we can create the NIL and all this different stuff now. But yeah, again, that's just how I feel. I'm not here to try to put my thoughts on anybody. If you disagree, I have no problem with that at all either. One of the other things that I want to kind of switch gears to that I kind of saw over the last week or two was NBA Europe. And Adam Silver talked about this recently and was saying that this is something that he could see starting as soon as 2027, definitely 2028 or somewhere like there. But this is extremely interesting to me. I am extremely excited for NBA Europe and to see exactly what it's going to be. I believe this is a league that they will have, obviously in Europe. I think there's going to be like 16 teams to start with at first, at least. I'm sure that it'll expand and grow. They said that some pre-existing European teams like Real Madrid would be a part of it, which I think is extremely dope. Here's the thing that I love about NBA Europe in general, especially coming off of Eurobasket. The EuroLeague is always exciting. The Olympics last summer was super, super dope. One of my favorite players from Europe ever is Nikola Mirotic. And I love Nikola Mirotic when he came over to the NBA. I obviously played for the Bulls, so I got to see him up close and personal and like all the time. And he was so great. I love Nico. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him so much that when he turned down that 3-year, $46 million deal from the Jazz out of nowhere and like decided to go back to play in Europe, I was kind of hurt. Like, damn, why would he do that? And then that's when I really like dove deep on it mentally, where I kind of understood it. And I appreciate him for doing that because it made me like players have done this before. American players have decided to go play overseas and in Europe for the same reasons. But like when he did it for whatever reason, because I liked him so much, it kind of hit home for me and made me kind of open up my mind to why and the problematic politics that can happen in NBA. And it ties back to why it makes me excited for NBA Europe. There is so much talent in the world, just in basketball perspective. Like I know we get spoiled here as Americans. We just watch the NBA and it's like this is the best league with the best talent. Yeah. But then you watch Euro League or you watch Eurobasket, or you watch the Olympics and you see obviously NBA stars participating in these forums as well. And though we know the Senguns, the Giannis's and whatnot, when you're watching the Olympics or whatever you're watching, you'll see certain guys and you'll be like, wait, damn, who is that guy? He got game. But you might not be familiar because he plays in Europe, right? So you only see him in a small portion of time. It's almost kind of like youth basketball or high school basketball as well, with the Nike Hoop Summit that they do every single summer. And they have a U18, U17, U16, U19. And you'll watch the Hoop Summit and be like, who the hell is that kid? Like that kid got game. That's how I first discovered Dennis Schroeder at the Nike Hoop Summit. The first time I seen Nikola Jokic, Nike Hoop Summit, Dante Exum, Nike Hoop Summit. So much good talent is in these forums that we just don't get to see because we're so caught up in what's going on in America, which I get it. But the game of basketball has grown so much nationally that there's talent everywhere, right? Like we see that it's such a big melting pot, so many different styles, principles, just philosophies, and it's all really, really good high end basketball. And so when you're watching EuroLeague or you're watching Eurobasket and you see Franz Wagner or Germany, and you see a guy that you're not familiar with and he's doing his thing, it intrigues you to like you become a fan of some of these guys, and then it's done and you never get to see them again. This is something that you can continue to watch. And I believe the NBA is going to put the resources and the tools necessary to help the American NBA fans keep up, because when you're trying to keep up, it's very, very hard, man. It is so, so hard. Like I remember when Nikola Mirotic decided to go back and play in Europe. I was fooling myself, telling myself, that's okay. I'm gonna keep up. I'm gonna make my EuroLeague account. I'm gonna get a subscription, do everything I need to do to be able to watch a couple games here and there. And I promise you, it was too much. I couldn't, and I didn't do nothing nearly as much as I thought I was going to do. Even when Mike James went over there after he played with the Nets and the Suns, and I was a fan of Mike James. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep up with Mike James. And it's just so hard. When I'm asleep 4:00 in the morning, they got certain games starting at times and different things like that. And it's just very hard to keep up with. You're trying to keep up with high school basketball here in America. You got college basketball. You're trying to draft scout. You're trying to keep up with all 30 teams in the NBA. You got other sports you're into, MLB, NFL, college football. And it's like on top of that, now you're trying to keep up with basketball on a whole other side of the world and on just different part of the just different part of the map, and it's just so hard. And this makes me feel like it will be a little bit more realistic to keep up with. And what it really excites me is that it allows an avenue for guys like Nikola Mirotic, right? Like Nikola Mirotic, Juan Carlos Navarro, Sergio Rodriguez. These are guys that I remember when I was growing up who were really, really phenomenal players overseas in Europe. But because the NBA is the best league in the world with the best players, which is no doubt, a lot of the Euro players feel like they have to take that chance, right? It's more money over here. It's a bigger league. Like I get it. But for them to come over here means that they are coming into our world, which can be a culture shock. They're leaving their family behind. And then most importantly, the NBA, like every other sports league, it's so much politics. And that's what really opened up my mind to it when Nikola Mirotic said, I was at the airport and I was about to head to Utah to meet with the Jazz and end up sign that deal. But while he was at the gate waiting to board the plane and the flight, he asked himself, Nico, what are you doing here? Why are you going to leave your family? Why are you going to go back over here in the NBA and play? All they do over here in the NBA is ask you to score 10 points, grab a couple rebounds, and that's it. Just a pick and popper. You don't really get to play your full game. Like you're away from your family and home to be put in a box. And that was like the crazy thing to me, because Nikola Mirotic, if anybody isn't educated on him, he's the man. He's the man back home. He is the guy. They may build a statue of Nikola. Like that's how it is when Euro players or overseas players come to play in America, right? Like Ricky Rubio, I was there for the Ricky Rubio hype. Ricky Rubio was the man in Spain. Like that was the guy. And then they come over here and they get boxed in. They can't play their game. And a guy like Ricky Rubio survived. He's that good of a player, but Ricky Rubio did not live up to what a lot of the hype was. And I'm not saying that to discredit him, because I still think he had a fabulous career and I love watching Ricky Rubio, but Ricky Rubio had crazy, crazy hype. Like this was the Spanish Steve Nash, you know what I'm saying, who was a 2-time MVP. And so when you heard that and you saw the highlights, and this is back when our highlight reels was a lot different in 2005 or 6 when his hype was building up. It was like him and Brandon Jennings on a Slam magazine before they were in the NBA, which is kind of unheard of. And you would see these little mixes online. It's like a 2-minute mix with music behind it. It's like Spanish music, and Ricky Rubio is throwing, his hair's flowing, and he's throwing a no-look pass. He's throwing a behind-the-back pass from half court, and like just doing crazy shit. And it's like, oh my gosh. And then it took him a while to come over or whatnot. And then, yeah, the guys don't quote unquote live up to what the hype was. And then we here as Americans, we sit and be like, man, all those guys be hyping, they come over here and they don't do shit. Like that was a thing in the mid 2000s. Like, I remember when Bargnani came over here and they hyped up Andrea Bargnani. He's like Dirk 2.0, and he went to the Raptors, and he again, like Rubio, was a really good player. He just wasn't the number one overall pick that he was hyped up to be. And again, us Americans, we kind of dog on him for not panning out to the level that a lot of them have the hype for. But then you realize, kind of like what Nikola Mirotic said, and I don't want to say this for like Bargnani or number one overall picks, but there are a lot of guys that come over here, and the hype and the love that is generated from playing in Europe, they don't have the opportunity to do that here. They don't. If we're just being honest, Nikola Mirotic is right. He went over in the EuroLeague and was an MVP. Like, clear cut, one of the best players, easily. And then he comes over here and he's a fourth option. They're just telling his ass to say, stand in that corner right there. Yeah, you'll play about 21 minutes. Stand over there. I mean, I say at the peak, Nikola Miric's NBA peak, he was probably 28 minutes, 29 minutes, maybe even hit 30. But he was very limited in his role. And I just think about that a lot. And it kind of make me sympathize a little bit for the Euro players who aren't like the Franz Wagners and the Giannis Antetokounmpos and Lucas. Those are like high-level tier players. But I think about the Sergio Rodriguez's. I think about the Juan Carlos Navarros that come over here and they play, and it's an opportunity that they can't pass up on, and then they get here and they play for 1 year, and it's like, this is not it. I'm not the player that I am at home. I'm boxed in. The politics are playing. And politics in NBA are real, even for American players. I watched Run Your Race. Shout out to Theo Pinson. He had Emmanuel Mudiay on his podcast, and Emmanuel Mudiay talked about when some of his love for basketball left in the NBA is when he was with the Utah Jazz, and he was finally putting it together. He was playing some of the best basketball he felt like he had played in his career, and he was hooping. And Quinn Snyder brought him in his office and sat him down and basically told him, like, hey, man, you are killing. Like, you are playing better than X, Y, and Z. But X, Y, and Z is going to continue to play. I'm not going to be able to play you. And he talked about the politics side of it, because X, Y, and Z is making $32 million, $36 million, while I'm making $9 million. And it just doesn't look good for our front office if the guy that they decided to pay $32 million can't even play in front of me, who makes less than half of what he makes. Those are the politics and the things that go into sports behind the scenes that us fans sometimes forget to think about, or just don't have any idea that it's even happening. And so when I just think about the Nikola Mirotic story, and I think about some of the other examples, and these are just 3 guys that I'm talking about for me. There are probably a bunch of other players that we can bring up that's just not even on my mind right now, that came over from, overseas to chase this NBA dream and to see if they can, become somebody here, and quickly realize I'm better off going home. They kind of do the opposite of what our American players do. So you'll see a guy like Shane Larkin go over there, and he's going over there to score more, to have a bigger role, and to be his, the best version of himself. He's leaving his home to go play overseas to become a bigger player. Overseas players are coming here, and they're being smaller, boxed in versions of themselves. It's kind of backwards. So again, to tie everything back into NBA Europe, so because y'all know I can get long-winded. I just feel like the NBA supporting it, getting behind it, and backing it, and throwing in the necessary tools and resources would allow a lot more comfort for guys to stay in a place where they can be themselves, play as their fullest potential, and be the players that they want to be. Because basketball is a very tough sport to be good at. And the reason it's tough to be good at it is because it takes so much time, it takes so much repetition, and it takes so much sacrifice. Just to be good. I didn't even use the word great purposefully. To be good is hard. to be great is like fucking unimaginable because of the amount of work it takes. And so you can only imagine to put in so much work all of your life into a game and into your game like a Nikola Mirotic and be such an incredible basketball player, and then you leave your family, you leave your kids, your wife, your mom, your dad. Maybe you bring one family member with you to America just so you can have some type of comfort. But you're leaving a lot back to chase this dream, and then you get here, and they're telling you to be half of what you've grinded to be. It's just I get it. I get it. I sympathize with it. And I just again, I feel like there's so much incredible talent around the world that we can't just arrogantly think that the NBA is the only thing worth watching. And EuroLeague, EuroBasket, and the Olympics continue to prove that. And so the NBA Europe League is exciting for me, and I can't wait to see what materializes from it and what the NBA is able to do from a resource level to help the game grow even more. There was a guy, I wish I remembered his name. I looked up into him about a year ago. Man, one of the next episodes, I'm gonna bring him up. He's like the greatest player that never played in the NBA, and he's played over there in the Euro League. He was like some of the best Euro players we've seen. He was like 6'9", 6'10", a wing forward who could shoot. He played like a souped up Gallinari almost. Like if I could describe his game, I forgot his name. I'm butchering his name. I don't want to mess it up. So I'll move on. But please in the comments remind me to give him his flowers because his game. I went and did my research. Phenomenal basketball player from a long time ago, way before my time either. The main thing I want to do for the show and for this episode, after glossing around some of the things that was on my mind in the NBA world, I wanted to come in here and talk about some of the do's and the don'ts for NBA fans heading into a new season, the 2025-2026 season. Now, I do want to say this. These are just my do's and don'ts. This isn't the law. This isn't the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to apply some of these, if you forget to apply some of these, if you fall victim to some of these things, it's not end all be all. It's just Unc giving some sound advice of some do's and some don'ts. And I'm going to try to apply these myself as well. I'm guilty of letting some of these slip through my brain and forgetting to apply these on an everyday basis. But this is just for the start. We're heading into a brand new year. Again, we're going to breathe in, we're going to breathe out, we're going to decompress, we're going to detach and get ready to attach ourselves back into this cycle of incredible basketball play, news, drama, theatrics. Like, y'all know the NBA is a walking soap opera, and it's just the gift that keeps on giving. So we got some do's and don'ts. I'm going to do this like a tennis match. I'm going to give a do, I'm going to give a don't. I'm going to give a do, I'm going to give a don't. I also will say this too. No NBA fan is created equal. Meaning, when the Knicks sucked, I wasn't at the same level of fandom because at that time, the Warriors were winning championships. We weren't the same. Me, as a Knicks fan we were starting like Noah Vonleh, and then the Warriors got 4 All-Stars in their starting line, 4 Hall of Famers. That fan isn't created equally. I'm sorry. It's just what it is. Like, when my Knicks were in the bottom of the league, yeah, it was just the experience wasn't the same for us as it was for the Cavaliers and the Warriors, who were just killing the NBA. So some of these do's and don'ts, they may feel like they are contradicting each other, but it's because fandom goes through phases. So you have the phase of your team being bad. You have the fandom of your team being great, interesting. You may have a season where your team is boring. So you got to remember that. And then there's progressions through a season, which we're going to talk about a lot. One of the first do's starts with the start of the season. Drink the Kool-Aid. That's my first do. Drink the Kool-Aid. So I just did an episode of the 6-Man Show with my guys, Kev and Jonathan. That's an Orlando Magic-based podcast. We had a really good episode. I asked them about a particular player on the Magic, and they were extremely optimistic, and they said, hey, is this going to go this way? I don't know, but I'm going to drink the Kool-Aid because it's the start of the season, and it's my team. And I love that type of thought process. So I wrote that down for my dudes. Drink the Kool-Aid, man. Drink the Kool-Aid. At the start of the season, this is the year, this is the time, this is the time of the year to be ultra optimistic. I have done it the last 3 years with the Chicago Bears. The last year of Justin Fields, the first year of Caleb Williams, and now the second year of Caleb Williams. We're all summer long. You got the draft, you got free agency, you got mini camp, you got training camp, you got preseason. This is months and months and months of Chicago Sun-Times articles, ESPN 1000 Chicago. They're talking about the Bears nonstop. Oh man, this dude looks good in camp. He looks like he's ready for a breakout year. Hey, I know he sucked last year, but he's looking really good. In this training or this camp and all of these different things. And you just drink the Kool-Aid. It's just drinking and drinking and drinking the Kool-Aid. Hey, yeah, I believe this is the year. Even though we know damn well we should pump the brakes, but at that small time of the year where you're able to be ultraly optimistic and have all blind belief, hope, and faith in your team, damn it, you do it. Because the season is long, it's gruesome, and it's a reality check. So if you are a fan of one of those teams that ain't looking so promising, drink your Kool-Aid now because you're going to have 82 games of reality slapping you upside the head and the actuality of what is going to happen and what state the team is in. You're going to have to sit with that for months and months and months during this long-ass season. So this small month, 4 to 5 week window where you can just be optimistic as hell, do it. Philadelphia 76ers fans, y'all went through a lot last year. Damn it, this is your time, this small window to say, man, maybe convince yourself that Joel Embiid is going to play 55 games and y'all will be able to make the playoffs. If you think Paul George, it can't get no worse than last year for him, this is the time to tell yourself that. Drink the Kool-Aid of that. If you think Tyrese Maxey putting up 26 or whatever points was the start of something and he can do that again, damn it, convince you this is the time to do it. Drink the Kool-Aid. Say it with me at home. Drink the Kool-Aid. That's our first do. Our first don't. Don't over attach yourself to players. There's been an extreme amount of player movement. Like player movement in the NBA is at an all-time high. And I constantly see fans of different teams attach themselves to guys, and the guy is not on the team in 2 years. Now, this is a hard don't. It's very hard to not get attached to certain players. Very hard. I'm a Knicks fan. When Dante DiVincenzo was thrown into the Karl Anthony Towns trade, Knicks community went up in arms. You would have thought Karl Anthony Towns was not a good basketball player, right? Like it was bad because the Knicks fans in the community got so attached to Dante DiVincenzo in that 1 year. Some of those big time shots he hit, those big time moments, the swagger he had, the Nova boys, all of that was beautiful. And we got attached to it. But that's the NBA today, where a guy can become beloved in the fan community or with the fans, and in all of that stuff he just did, don't even matter. He's gone. He's traded. He's traded. Hit game-winning shots, big play, you could be gone. Here today, going tomorrow. The Celtics won a championship not that long ago. Jrue Holiday not even on the team no more. Al Horford not on the team no more. It's just that fast. You know what I mean? It's the blink of an eye. As soon as you get attached, it's like the franchise, like, hey, trade him. Player movement is going and going and going. Hey, man, Luka Doncic got traded, which I guess I'm gonna have to reference that twice. So again, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard, but just use your common sense. Look at your team. Look at players. Understand the business. Look at things that have happened, and say, okay, let me not get too attached. This dude is playing way above his value. We're not in a situation where we can really capitalize on this type of player. He's a 3-and-D wing. He's probably going to get traded. It just we have to get the assets for him. So let me enjoy him while we have him, but let me not get too attached to the point where I get delusional about him being here for the future, right? So again, don't over attach to players. Another do, find the healthy medium. The healthy medium is like the equator. The healthy medium is like a half court line on a basketball court. A healthy medium is 50-50. It's a perfect line that divides biased and unbiased opinions, emotions, thoughts, whatever. Find the healthy medium, y'all. Find the healthy medium. You don't want to be a 90% biased person towards your team or favorite player. It's annoying, it's hard to talk to, and nobody's going to take you serious. You also don't want to fall too much on the unbiased side either, because then you'll forget to enjoy your team and what they're doing. And sometimes I'm guilty of falling too far on the unbiased because I take pride in my job and what I do, and I appreciate and honored that people come to watch and listen to what I have to say on different topics, that I try to give the best bias-free opinion that I can on every single topic. So much that even when I'm not on camera doing my job, when I'm just at the house or I'm just talking with some friends about different topics, or I'm talking to the guys on the pod and it's off camera, it's off the record, I'm sometimes still a little locked in too much to just being unbiased. Where it's like, hey, if I got these two players and hey, I like Jalen Brunson more, so I'm gonna just say I'm gonna root for Jalen Brunson here. I'm gonna root for the Knicks. I'm gonna just like blindly root. Like, it's hard for me sometimes to really separate it, to the point where like I've had a couple of my friends be like, boy, if my team was doing what the Knicks doing, I would be a little bit more, turned up than you. You're a little bit more chiller than me. So I'm like, you know what? Am I too tied up in trying to be unbiased so much that I'm like ruining some of my experiences as a fan sometimes? So find that healthy medium. Please find that healthy medium where you have a nice 50-50 balance. And don't forget, there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place. Something I have to remind myself too. At work, here, it is the time to be centralized, unbiased, and giving y'all authentic opinions about whatever it is, the topic on hand. But again, once I leave here and I get in my car, I could get back to just being a biased fan if that's what I want to do. If damn it, I want to blindly just believe in Paul George, then damn it, I deserve to be able to do that. So find the healthy medium. Don't, dog. I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't hate watch. What is hate watching? What is that? Like, I know y'all be calling me Unc. I know, I know, I know. I was born in the '90s, and for whatever reason, that's just old man status. But what is hate watching? What are we talking about when we say that? Like, let's retire that. The game of basketball at this point, it's growing into such a beautiful game, a beautiful sport with so much different talent, so many different styles. You got so many different options. Again, you can watch high school basketball, college basketball, WNBA basketball. You can watch EuroLeague basketball, Eurobasket basketball, youth basketball, all different types of basketball. So why the hell are we ever hate watching? Why are we hate watching? Like, please just retire. Don't hate watch. Because I'm telling you, what's going to happen is, as a person who I don't feel like I've ever hate watched, but I definitely was like anti before. I'll never forget being anti certain players and like just being so anti that like 5 years go by and I'm like, damn, man, I took that for granted. And now all you got is a damn YouTube compilation. Like a lot of people can relate to that with LeBron. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people who just did not rock with LeBron with the Heat. There's a lot of people that did not rock with Kevin Durant with the Warriors. So much that it's just like you kind of just didn't appreciate the time. And now you look up and guys are like at the tail end of their careers. And it's like, damn, and I missed out on some prime years because I was hate watching. Or just, there's people that just hate watch just because. It's just fun. They just want to root against some shit. They want to be negative. They want to be. So again, I just think the game is too delicate, it's too precious to hate watch. And because of all of the injuries, like I know a lot of people that was trying to shit on Jason Tatum for years and years and years and years. And whatever reason, Jason Tatum was just a guy that the social media basketball community found to pick on. And now it's like we won't have Jason Tatum at all. And it's going to be like kind of people gonna miss him. They're gonna start to appreciate him. You don't know what you got till it's gone. And because injuries are so prominent, because we're having so many of them, I don't think we have the room to hate watch. I don't. We have the room to root for our teams and support our favorite players, but to turn on a game to say I'm hate watching, I want this person to not do good. It's kind of strange and weird. And again, When you see how much time Embiid is missed, Lillard has the Achilles, Halliburton had the Achilles, Tatum had the Achilles, Zion is was in and out the lineup. Who else have we had injuries to? There's so many people that have had injuries. Vic had missed like the latter part of the season. There's so much damn injuries. We don't have time to hate watch, y'all. We just don't have the luxury. I hate to break it to y'all. Hate watching is just something we do not have the time for. Back to the dudes. Listen, man. Embrace the tank. This is another year where they're saying the draft is going to be loaded again. Now, I am with them now. But I am a big proponent of like watching the college basketball season and seeing how the players perform in college. That's a big indicator for me. How you perform in college, how you deal with structure and coaching and players that are a little bit more on your playing field. The level of competition takes a huge step up. So we'll see. But AJ DeBansa, you got Cameron Boozer, you got Darian Peterson, like another top heavy Nate Ament, another top heavy draft class that has some surefire talent that looks like they're going to be able to develop into some difference makers at the NBA level. So embrace the tank. If you are a fan of one of these teams that is looking like it's not going to be good, don't beat yourself up about, oh man, it's going to be a long year. No, you have to find different things to be excited for. This is like what I was talking about with the Warriors when they were winning championships. The Knicks sucked. So instead of being like, man, the Knicks suck, like, nah, it's like, okay, my excitement is trying to figure out which one of these draft prospects we going to get. Now, unfortunately for me, the Knicks always ended up with like the 7th pick, which is how we get Kevin Knox's. We got like Obi Toppin at like 8. That one year we did get Porzingis at 4. I think we got Frank Ntilikina at like 7 or 8. Like we never did it. We never sucked enough. Pause. To be able to get those consistent number 1 overall picks. It was always like we sucked a little. Relax. And it was only able to get us at 7, 8, 9. So if you are a Jazz fan, if you are a Nets fan, oh man, my guy Jeremy just put in the chat, Jordan Hill right before Steph. Man. My point exactly. Though, even if we had to pick, we probably would have done something even more foolish. And Steph wanted to be a Knick. Don't even. Let's not even relive that. The Knicks would have found a way to ruin that. So shout out to the Warriors. You deserved them. But embrace the tank. Embrace the tank, y'all. It's bad enough that your team is not good. It's bad enough that you don't have anybody that is worth watching. And, like if you're a Nets fan, your team right now is in a tough place. I just seen a report where or a tweet, not a report, a tweet. Let me correct myself. Where I believe they said that like 13 players on the Nets have like 2 years of experience or less. So your team probably not going to be good. And that's fine. Don't beat yourself up about how long the year is going to be and how bad y'all going to be. Look at the bright spots. The bright spots are you bringing in about 3 or 4 rookies. You have that young talent. They'll be able to figure some things out. Hey, could Michael Porter Jr. be a 20-point, 3-point scorer a night? Will you see a new version of him? Drink the Kool-Aid. Can Cam Thomas come in there with a chip on his shoulder and say, hey, y'all didn't want to pay me. Now I'm about to show my ass and I'm about to make sure y'all have to pay me? Drink the Kool-Aid. Can Jaeger Demon take all of these reps and turn into something that's like, franchise changing? I don't know. Drink the fucking Kool-Aid. So yeah, embrace the tank and find different things to be positive about, whether you are rooting for a championship contender or a bottom feeding team. Don't anticipate another major trade deadline. I was surprised we got what we got last year. And it was spectacular to get Jimmy Butler traded. Luka got traded. De'Aaron Fox got traded. Like, that was incredible. I'm not anticipating that shit this year. We don't really have anybody else to trade. Who's getting traded? We're like running out of people to get traded. And then the money always got to match. Like, I'm just not. Like, Giannis Antetokounmpo is not, if he is going to get traded from the Bucks, it won't be in the middle of a year. Devin Booker is going to stay in Phoenix, but even hypothetically, then Devin Booker, he's not getting traded during the season. I don't believe Zion Williamson will get traded during the season. So when you look around the NBA and you're just trying to foreshadow, even if the Grizzlies and Ja Morant want to go different ways, or that kind of goes its own route, I don't look at those. These are all NBA talent players. I don't think they get traded during the season. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Again, I know you can't say, you can't say what's impossible or not possible because Luka Doncic got traded during the season, an all NBA player, all time player, blindly traded. But I think we have to look at that as an isolated situation that happened in NBA. I don't look at the Luka Doncic shit as like a domino effect that we're going to see more of that. I should expect to see those type of trades happen more. No, I think that's its own thing that will forever live on its own as the Luka Doncic trade, the Luka Doncic moment, and we'll just put it over there by itself and not try to make that a norm because it won't be. So yeah, my hopes. I wasn't really hopeful for the last trade deadline. I didn't feel like it was going to be much. But I'm damn sure after getting those moves, after getting the offseason we got, yeah, I'm just not anticipating much. The offseason barely cracked off the way we wanted it to because there was a lot of like hesitancy and it's the second apron and the cap flexibility and all of these different things. Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors are having like a standoff, like an old Western film where you gotta hurry up, take the gun at, like they're doing one of those, and it's not getting anywhere because it's like trading is fucking tough right now. It's very tough to trade. Teams want picks, and you got to make sure the money match, and you have to make sure that you're going to be okay when the second apron. And a lot of players are extension eligible, and they want extensions because this other player got paid, and I feel like I'm on the same level or better than him, so I want to raise to. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on, and I think all of that hurts that trade deadline spark and feel. Again, last year is the exception, and if it happens again, if it happened twice, I'll accept it. I'll shut my mouth, and I'll just say, hey, that's an L on me. I overthought it. The deadline is popping, but I just don't believe that we're going to see a whole bunch of shit going on at the deadline this year. Back to the dudes. Watch college basketball, baby. Watch college basketball, especially since you're gonna be here teed up season 2. Christian gonna have all of the college basketball shit popping for us. He gonna keep me on my toes or whatever. But the reason I'm so adamant about people watching college basketball, not that you have to watch it as much as Christian, not that you have to watch it as much as me, not that you have to watch and know every single prospect or all of the teams that you should be looking for at March Madness. No, 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 no. But I just feel like as NBA fans, big time diehard NBA fans that you guys tell me that you are, why not get some type of familiarity with the next stars of the league? This is how you get familiar with the next stars. Whether it's going to be a Boozer, whether it's going to be a Peterson, whether it's going to be DeBonsa, I don't know. But I do know somebody from college basketball is going to come to the NBA and become a star. Not only are they going to become stars, they're going to be guys that are going to be difference makers for your teams, right? Like, how cool would it have been for an Oklahoma, or how cool is it for an Oklahoma City fan to have known Alex Caruso at Texas A&M and to be able to say, man, I remember when Alex Caruso was at Texas A&M. He wasn't shit like the way he is. I never imagined him to be who he is now. Or if you watch Jared McCain and he got to the Sixers and he was, you know what I mean? Like, just to have some familiarity, just a little bit. I'm not saying you got to watch or dedicate your whole week to watching college basketball, but Saturday morning, you ain't doing shit anyway. You waiting for the podcast to come out. You can't watch a little 11 o'clock noon Big East basketball, just a game, before you go out and enjoy your beautiful Saturday. You can't watch a game for us. Not just one game. What about those big games? A Duke versus North Carolina. Everybody got to tune into that. Just one game a week won't hurt anybody. I think that's fair enough to ask from the person who does not watch college basketball at all. One game a week will get you some type of familiarity. I'll even give you a cheat code. Go to whatever forum, site, person that you trust. Or just go to Google and type in 2026 NBA mock draft. And they'll give you an entire first round of all the players and go through and highlight some of those top guys that you think is interesting. Maybe there's a player whose name you keep hearing. Maybe you keep hearing Darren Peterson whenever somebody's talking about next year's draft. And so you highlight Darren Peterson. Okay, he goes to Kansas. And then you go back to Google and you Google Kansas Jayhawks schedule. And it'll show you their schedule. And you might see them that they have a prime time matchup against a top ranked team. Oh shit. I don't know what their schedule is, but you may see, oh shit, wait, Darren Peterson is going to play against Cameron Boozer? Oh shit. Okay. And you highlight that game. Watch that game. Now it's hard to formulate deep opinions on one game. A player can come out and have a 40-point game. You could think he's the shit just to realize he had a high game. A guy could come out and have 8 points on 3 of 14 shooting, and you might be like, man, he ain't shit. And then you might come to find out, damn, he had food poisoning, or he just didn't have it that game. Because nobody's above having a bad game at any level. So, but that's just a cheat sheet of like, you don't have to overcommit, but just watch the big games. Watch the players that you feel like you want to know about. Watch the top players at least. You know what I mean? I hate every draft cycle. Everybody want to be a part of the conversation for players that they like it. They didn't watch college basketball. How are you telling me who you like in the draft and you didn't watch college basketball? It makes no sense. If you want to be a part of the conversation, which a lot of you do, just tune in just a little bit, at the least, just a little bit. That's how we stop getting people to say all of the same things. You hear somebody say something, and now that's what you say because you didn't watch college basketball to formulate your own opinion. Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Don't be that man. Don't be that woman. Don't be that child. Back to the what was that? A dude? Back to the don'ts. Don't fall for the bait. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I'm gonna be real. There are going to be podcasters, YouTubers, social media accounts on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. They're going to throw bait out there. They're going to say some dumb shit. They're going to say some foolish shit for engagement, and they're going to try to rile you up and take away some of the excitement that you're having during or before the season to kind of piss you off. There's always this preseason ranking of players where a consensus top 5 player is ranked 9. There's always some dumb shit like one of those lists had Cade Cunningham at 67th. There's always something, right? Just to like really just drive social media up. Don't fall for it, y'all. Not this preseason. Don't. I think in order to stop that, we have to stop giving it attention. If somebody wants to put some dumb shit list together where they have an obvious high-ranking player low as hell, just scroll past it. Just scroll past it. Because what happens is they use the Boston Celtics fan base by putting Jason Tatum extremely low because they know the entire Celtic fan base is going to go up in flames and they're going to react and engage, and the shit is going to go viral to the point where now it's on numbers on the board as a talking point, and now it's on Club 520 as a talking point, and now Gil's Arenas is talking about it on the talk, and now it's fucking viral. Let's not fall for it, y'all. Not this year. Let's let the dumbass takes and articles and rankings and shit, let's just let it fall by the wayside. If we don't engage and we don't pay attention to it, they won't exist anymore. I'm telling you. Just trust me. Just trust me. I hate the cycle. Every year at the beginning of the season, we do it. Now, if somebody genuinely puts a list together and it causes an uproar, there's a bunch of different disagreements, then that's one thing. But I think every year I see a couple of articles that look like they're purposely made to piss people off for engagement and to stir the pot and rile us up. So let's not fall for it this year. Back to the dues. Never say never. Anything is possible. Like even me, I fall victim to this a lot. And I have to keep reminding myself, like, I be saying never or this won't happen or that. We had an NBA Finals where the Pacers, everybody was picking against the Pacers every series. Everybody. Oh, yeah, they beat the Cavs. They ain't beating the Knicks. Or whoever the hell they beat. Oh, yeah, they beat this team. They're not beating. They're not going. Oh, yeah, they beat the Knicks. The Thunder are going to sweep them or gentlemen sweep them. Then it's 6 games. Oh, yeah, the Thunder going to win this game 6. And it's like game 7. And it's like we just kept down and down and down. And the Pacers could never do this. They could never do that. Luka Doncic would never be traded. You can never trade a guy. Like, no, the NBA is showing us that there's no such thing as never. There is no such thing as never. A team like the Mavericks could trade Luka and then get the first pick to trade Cooper Flag. There is no never. We are in a time right now where they're saying Kawhi Leonard got $54 million under the table. Never say never. Who knew Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to be an MVP and Finals MVP in the same year for the Oklahoma City Thunder? Who knew that the Thunder's championship wouldn't involve Russell or KD? Never say never. It's crazy. Like, it's insane. It is really, really insane. Back to the don'ts. I think we got two. Yeah, we got two last don'ts. Second and last don't. I created a word here, so keep up with me. Don't be fantasocial. I believe that one of the greatest things about the internet, though there's so many cons, there's so many negatives, one of the greatest things is the community-based forums. So when you talk about sports and you talk about being a fan of a player or teams or whatever, the internet allows us to all have communities that we can attach to and be a part of with one click of a button. You know, you may be a Bulls fan that lives in Idaho. That don't mean you can't be a part of the Bulls fan community through social media. You know, you could live somewhere that doesn't have a sports team, and you're like, hey, I'm a Celtics fan, or I'm a Lakers fan. I live in South Dakota, but damn it, I love the purple and gold. Back in the day, you was exiled out because you lived in an area where there was probably no other Laker fans. Now, one press of a button, you can be nothing but Laker fans. You know, Twitter Spaces and Twitter communities and Reddit and YouTube and whatever. You know, don't be antisocial. You're a fan of a team and you want to go and, you know, talk with other like-minded fans or just be a part of communities. It don't even have to be a team community. It could be a basketball community. One of the most beautiful things I think about numbers on a board is our community. Like, I'll never forget, we went on tour and there was like stories that people were telling, like, man, yeah, I rode with him. I met him through the community. I don't know him. I never met him in real life, but hey, he was a fan. I was a fan. We realized that we lived close and we carpooled to the show. That shit is incredible to me. So don't be antisocial. Be out there, you know, if you want to. Now, social media might not be a thing. You might like to be low key. That works too. But there's a lot of people that I do talk to and I do see when we do live shows and different things like that. And they're like, man, I'm the only Knicks fan. I'm the only Knicks fan in Portland. And it's like, well, that's no problem. That ain't no problem. Shannon Sharp voice. That ain't no problem. You know, you can, you know, go out there and be fantasocial. And then also I'm tying that into being nice. Just be nice this season. Be cool. There's so much arguing. Like, even in our shit, I'll be streaming or I'll be on Twitter and I'll say something and it's a conversation that starts and it'll be two guys just like being like mean to each other over a basketball opinion. Well, like yesterday, Enjoy Basketball put out a post of me saying, like, I think Cade can win the MVP in the next 3 to 4 years. Obviously, there's a bunch of Pistons fans like, yeah, hell yeah. Then you got people that's like, man, y'all got to stop overrating Paolo and Cade. They ain't that good. And now it's a fucking Magic Pistons fan fighting against this dude, and it's another dude who comes in and agrees with him, and it's like a 2-on-2 tag team match, and they just going on and on and on, and to the point where some of the tweets don't even involve basketball no more. It's not that serious, and it ain't that fucking, the shit ain't even cool, or like there's nothing you getting out of that. And then my last don't. I'm gonna be corny here a little bit. Pun intended. Don't forget to enjoy basketball. It's a very long year. It's a very long season. There's going to be a lot of ups. There's going to be a lot of downs. There's going to be some drama. There's going to be some exciting shit. There's going to be some boring parts. But enjoy the game. Enjoy the season. These years and these seasons are flying by so fast. I cannot believe when I look at some of the player bios and I see the ages. Steph Curry, 36. That shit sound crazy to me. LeBron James, whatever age he's at, 59 years old. Like, I remember when Luka was a rookie. I remember like when Ja Morant was a darling of the NBA, and now it's like, will Ja Morant be on the Grizzlies? You know what I'm saying? Like, it is going by so damn fast that it's so hard to keep up with. So I think we spend so much time on bullshit and stuff that don't matter, and then we blink. I even said on the podcast, I'm like, man, I can't wait for 3 years to pass by, 3 to 5 years pass by, and I can really enjoy or dwell in this era of the Thunder because so much is going on that you kind of don't know if you really taking in what's happening, if you're really processing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's think about everything that happens in the NBA. Somebody wins a championship, but then you got somebody else getting traded, some drama over here and drama over there, and it's so much distractions that you don't really know if you're really taking in what exactly is happening. Like what Shea just did, have we really grasped this? Have we really, really, really grasped how incredible of a year that was? I don't know. I do not know. But I need to make sure that I don't look back like, damn, like he was really killing. Like sometimes I do that. Like sometimes I really go back and watch some shit like, man, Kevin Durant was really dogging with the Warriors. Like, no shit. But it's like it takes some time to really like settle in. So yeah, another incredible episode to tee it up. I feel good to be back. I'm ready to get back into the swing of things. Like I said, I kind of detached from basketball a little bit. Um, I got one more detachment. I think I'm gonna take like a trip to New York in a couple weeks. I don't know what days that'll fall upon. Hopefully, we have something to figure out here at Tee It Up. But if we do have to miss an episode or something like that, that'll be the last one. But yeah, it's right around the corner. I'm super grateful for all the support. That last wave of episodes we did with all the numbers on the board, and my brother and my dad, they did really well. And yeah, the love has been received from not only me, but the team, the entire Enjoy team as well. So I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all in the very next episode. Y'all be safe, and I love y'all. I'm out. Peace.